everybody, I hope you can hear me now. Welcome to round 2 of the PSGL GT Constructors Challenge live from the circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. I am your host Harry, also known as H Racing Green, and I will be attempting to cover all the action from the second round of this formidable championship by myself. It will be a Martin Brundle on lead comms type job here, trying to squeeze as much analysis into the main commentary as I can. Cars are out on track now in these low light conditions for the pre-qualifying session, and we have certainly got a tasty encounter lined up. Our main focus for this evening, Maxim Glushko coming in on reserve duty for Yassi Prez, the reigning champion, with a disastrous beginning to his title defence last time out with an 8th place, will not be present this week, meaning his title defence is pretty much over before it has started. Similarly, race winner from last time, ERL Cunning, a fantastic performance. He took victory in his very first PSGL GT start. He currently not here. I think he's having some technical difficulties with getting into the lobby, which is unfortunate for him. Someone who is here though, Tier 1 Season 1 champion Hasnain. A fantastic performance from him last time, P2 and the fastest lap. Will he go one better this evening? He certainly has some stiff competition. Also in with us this evening is Solid Ninja Snake, double Tier 2 champion. He hopes to go one better as well and compete for the Tier 1 championship. He certainly has got all the tools at his disposal. A fantastic Genesis car, good tyre and fuel saving capabilities, and the raw pace to match. He is certainly going to be one to watch once again as he heads round on his warm-up lap for the pre-qualifying session. Just a bit of time for the drivers to get up to speed with the qualifying multipliers. The difference to the race, of course, is that in qualifying it is 1 times tyres and no fuel to avoid fuel burning, a horrible fuel burning tactic, and to give the drivers enough time to get a couple of laps in on their soft tyres. Just the 5 minutes on qualifying, as I believe we will be getting underway fairly soon. I think that is it there. Yes, qualifying in progress. There we go. Thank you very much for that, PD. Don't give me any warning whatsoever. And we are out for qualifying. Is Jamie 9 million out for qualifying first? Everyone will be out on the soft tyre, as there is no requirement to start on the tyre you qualify on in this season. A bit different to previous seasons. We will be running the 5-minute qualifying session, controlled by the game, so it's 5 minutes plus the lap you get to finish at the end, as opposed to the manual setting that we were previously using due to the lack of a qualifying mode. Out onto the circuit we go, and these are the cars that will be a big focus, these Nissan GTRs. This is the 2018 spec, not quite as fast as the incredible 2013 spec that is absolutely dominating in daily races and World Series at the moment, but it will be a formidable task for any driver to try and draft past one of these. They are absolutely incredible in a straight line. Those who have the best chance probably in the Toyota, also very, very solid in a straight line, and will probably be the ones to challenge the Nissans as they head up Eau Rouge, Raidillon and along the Kemmel Straight. Only 11 cars in the lobby, so no Cunning. Then he will not be a double race winner right away, and this is a great opportunity for Hasnain, Solid Ninja Snake and Jamie to pick up some big points in what could be a critical title battle. As we take a look now, they're coming round towards the end of the lap through Blanchimont and towards the bus stop chicane. We'll ride on board with Solid Ninja Snake for his lap as he heads through Blanchimont. As I was saying, 1 times tyre, no fuel, so nothing to worry about in terms of wear. Only 5 minutes though, so 2 flying laps will be all these drivers will get, and if they've gone out late it may only be 1. Through the bus stop, you want to take a wide entry to get as good an exit as possible, and flat out now down the front straight. Here we go. He's using all of the revs available to him. Maximise that, no need to worry about the fuel burning off. He heads down to the first corner, last sort of brake, about 75 metres down to first gear, a little bit wide at the end. Drives now down the hill towards Eau Rouge. On soft tyres, you'd think this would be flat. Left, kiss the curb through the right-hander, keeps it pinned up over Radion, cuts the curb nicely, and along the Kemmel straight. He's not quite close enough to Jamie in front to pick up a toe, but he will not mind that. If he's got superior pace, he may be beneficiary of it towards the end of the lap. Heading now into Le Com, braking just at the end of the curb, down into third gear. Misses the apex a little bit, but gets the car back across to the left nicely. Now this is an awkward corner through the right-hander, a little bit wide on entry, but gets it all sorted out as we head down into Rivage. Hard on the brakes, down into second. Keep it tight as you can, but try and get on the power as early as possible. Does that quite nicely through the corner with no name. Little slow through there. I can only apologise for any lag issues that may be occurring. This is an unfortunate side effect of the spectator cams on GT7, that they are just pretty hopeless in terms of lag situations. Through Pouon, he's dealt with that very nicely, and into the Fania chicane. Easy to run too deep into the first part and compromise the second, but he's dealt with that well. A lift mid-corner, heads out, and now through this double right-hander at the far end of the circuit. Will he be able to keep it flat through here? No, a little lift. Got to not touch the AstroTurf. If you touch the AstroTurf, it is in the wall, almost certainly. Now through Blanchimont, keep it pinned, absolutely flat out. Into sixth gear. Through the left-hander, no problems at all. And now, critical braking point. You've got to spot it just right. Just before the 100-metre board, he does that down into first gear. Into the second part, no early upshift again, that may cost him on exit. It comes across the line with a 2:15.3. Where's Maxim going to go? A 2:14.4. That is formidable pace. Smalley Balls with a 2:14.7, a very strong lap from him. Let's take a look further down the field. Solid Ninja Snake, there's Jamie. Jamie comes across the line with a 2:15.3. So after the first set of laps, it looks to be Maxim who is setting the pace. And will anyone be able to match him? Hasnain with a 2:15.0 comes across in fourth place. Let's take a look. Maxim, as he heads toward the first split, has he been able to make any advances? Leaves the car in fifth. There are some little interesting differences to the way that, you know, a top tier driver might drive, and I think a lot of these drivers will be learning a lot from them. Through, he's about 800ths down through the first sector. It's not irreconcilable. He could certainly do it in that pink pig Porsche design. Absolutely beautiful. An iconic livery from the old 917s, and then once again at the modern Le Mans meets with the 911 RSR, which he has chosen for this series. Through Pouon he comes now. Hard cornering left-hander, keep it pinned all the way out. Right from the helmet cam. Through there. There you go, there's those early upshifts mid-corner. They are fantastic. And he's going to pick up a toe off the Genesis in front of him. I think that's Solid Ninja Snake in front. And he is half a tenth up as he heads through the second split. And I think this toe is going to make a huge difference to him. This is a fantastic camera, I love that. Absolutely excellent addition to the game is this sort of passenger camera. It really gives you a great sense of speed and what the driver's doing. Heading now down into the chicane. Ninja Snake just in front there. Has he gone too deep? No, he's used the car as a marker beautifully. A little bit of a slide through the middle section of the corner. Jamie puts it in the wall. And a 14.1 from Maxim. What a marker to put down. As Izzy9 comes home in third place. Can Hasnain make any advances on that? Kepler comes in at 2:15.2, fifth place for him. Bit of wheel spin off there for Hasnain. Comes across a 15 flat, no improvement. Anyone else still on the lap? Here is Django, he is not improving on that one. And that is the end of qualifying, so it is Maxim on pole. Absolutely sensational lap, a 14.1. Smalley Balls in the Supra, as I said, great car to have around here, a 14.7 for him. and a 14.8 for Eisenstein. Excellent performances from both of them. Two drivers who were not near the front in round 1, but could certainly be posing a threat in round 2 here at Spa. Hasnain, Keplerot and Ramirez. It's CRG Jamie in P7. Disappointing result for him, you might say. Ninja Snake also in 8th, not the result he was hoping for. It's Junko, Jamie 9 million and Diogo Mora rounding out the field in P11. Drivers get a minute or so to check over their cars. Everything is in order. They can change the tyres that they start on. So it is 25% on hards and mediums for this round. They must do a quarter race distance on the 2 mandatory compounds. All 3 tyre compounds are available, but they must do a quarter race distance on each one. Here at Spa-Francorchamps, with the 26 lap race distance we have got scheduled, which should last about an hour, that means 7 laps on each tyre. We're just waiting then for the race to start. While we're waiting is a good opportunity for me to promote the special event we have got coming up on GT7, the 5400 of Monza in the Godzilla, the 2013 Nissan GTR Nismo GT3. That will be a one-make race, a lengthy endurance event around the iconic Monza. That is a straight line speed fiasco, and it will be a test of who is bravest into those heavy braking zones in that awfully heavy car that is going awfully quickly by the time you reach the end of those straights. The date for that one yet to be confirmed, but all will be announced very, very soon, with sign-ups going out sometimes this week. And that is perfect timing. It's almost like I'm professional as we head into the race. It's round 2 of the PSGL Constructors Challenge, live from Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Here we go then, building up. We have got the 5 lights, and we are away, and we have never have any way of telling who has done well. Off the start, Maxim gets a great start, as does Izzy's going to go down the inside of Smalley Balls, who goes deep. Bit of contact there, and the BMW is able to lever underneath him, and already Maxim has pulled out nearly a second's advantage, which is absolutely incredible. We're going to do the quick camera change. There we go. Up through Eau Rouge now is Maxim from Eisenstein. Smalley Balls going side by side, the BMW and the Supra. The Supra's forced off the track, as is the BMW. And now Hasnain in great position to field up, pick up a few places, as is Keplerot, who is pushing him down the straight. CRG Jamie now down the inside of the BMW. Eisenstein gets a penalty for cutting the corner at Radion, I think that was. As down the inside, Hasnain comes into 3rd place, as Keplerot in 4th, CRG Jamie in 5th, and Eisenstein, the biggest loser there, down into 6th. Solid Ninja Snake picking up a position. Junko in 8th, it's Ramirez in 9th, Diogo Mora in 10th, and Jamie 9 million bringing up the rear. Maxim Glushko already 2.5 seconds clear. I think this is going to be an absolute formality for him, unless something disastrous goes on with his fuel or tyre saving. He is just in a class of his own already. Smalley Balls chose to start on the hard tyre, as did Keplerot, as did Hasnain and Jamie. So some of the big names at the front all opting to get the hard stint out of the way, as Jamie's forced out wide. I don't know if he made a little mistake or if there was some small contact there, but he is down into P7, nearly P8. That is not how he was hoping to take Pouhon, for the first time in this race. Eisenstein did opt to stick with the medium tyre for the first stint, so he's looking for raw pace. But as we've discussed in previous rounds, if you get caught up in traffic using those medium tyres, you're not going to get the most out of them, and you're not going to be able to gain the gap you need when you're on the hards and the other cars around you are on mediums. Looking down, who else has gone for mediums? It is Ramirez. Junko on hards, Diogo is on hards, as is Jamie. So only a few cars have gone for the mediums, as Maxim Glushko nearly 4 seconds clear by the end of the first lap. What a start, and what a driver. As away he goes, he is, well, he's nearly 5 seconds clear as he heads to the line. It's a case of multiple tenths per corner. Absolutely incredible. Keplerot picking up 3 places through the second half of that lap. A fantastic effort from him, as the Smalley Balls drops down to P4, and Hasnain there in P3. Solid Ninja Snake and Jamie getting very close, going wheel to wheel, as eventually the camera will change. Hasnain down the hill. Capero pulling out a bit of an advantage. Has he gone for the medium side? No, he's on the hards. He is just feeling confident in that McLaren. An unpopular choice in the McLaren, but I think it certainly has some capacity for good results. There is the straight line speed of that Supra, as Smalley Balls absolutely just and Jamie, that is incredible straight line speed from the Toyotas, as each Toyota took it in turns to pass a Genesis along the Kemmel straight. That is fantastic work from them, and I think that will be a very hard thing to compete with as the race goes on, especially in a wheel-to-wheel battle. Here's Jamie. It's now Eisenstein who's looking at the back of Solid Ninja Snake, of course. Ninja Snake on the hards and Eisenstein on the mediums. He will be wanting to get this move done. He is going to need to get this move done. You can't afford to sit around and wait in the traffic when you're on those medium tyres. It just will not work. And while you're coming under pressure from Ramirez, who's also on the mediums too. So these cars are fighting on effectively at the moment the same strategy. They are really... This is for bona fide position as it stands, whereas the others maybe they're out of sync with. So these two, while they're going to want to get ahead of each other, they do not want to compromise their race by battling too hard in the early stages. Wide goes Diogo, and that is Jamie 9 million through, as Keplero, there you are, it touches that AstroTurf. As I said, it's very critical that you don't get out on that AstroTurf. You can pick up penalties, you can end up in the wall, it can all go horribly wrong, horribly quickly. As we head now through Blanchimont, and that has put him under big pressure from Smalley Balls in the Toyota Supra. Can he get down the inside? No, enough straight line speed from the McLaren for now. And while Smalley does think of attacking, he's got to think about defending as well with the wily fox that is Hasnain, a fantastically clean racer, an extremely strong strategic mind. Can he find a way through into the critical second place he's going to need to keep the gap close to Maxim to have a chance of defeating him in this race? Here we go, this is a critical moment. Can he utilise the straight line speed of that Supra to good effect? Up the hill, he's got a nice slingshot over Radion, and now down the Kemmel straight. Right on board with him. Capra goes defensive in the slipstream. It is absolutely incredible straight line speed. He's going to be nudging 170 miles an hour, and he is through. Can he just about? Kepler had to think about trying to come back at him on the brakes, which would have been extremely optimistic, but he has made it stick, and now Jamie is the one searching around the back of that McLaren, right underneath the rear wing, looking for a way through, as Hasnain slipped behind him again, utilising that straight line speed. Huge advantage for these Toyota drivers, as at the moment that Nissan just a few seconds back, not quite in the running. Through into Pouon then. He's sharp left-hander, a quick corner, but it's quite a severe turn. It's just the cars are generating so much downforce at that point that can take it at an incredible speed. Here comes the final half of the lap through Stavelot and out onto the back straight towards Blanchimont. Jamie 7/10 up on his best so far this lap, as Kepero is wide again, and that is what I'm saying. The AstroTurf is so it's at the same time it's so slippery, and yet it's almost impossible to get off it. And he will concede that position. Made that mistake in the straight line speed of the Supra, made it easy, and Kepero is wide again. It's so easy once you make one mistake to make another couple, and just like that, when you're in a slipstream train like this, you have lost it. And he's picked up a penalty as well. Hasnain goes deep. Can Kepero get the cutback? He's being harassed as well by Hasnain's stablemate, Solid Ninja Snake in the other Genesis. As down the inside come both of the purple cars. Can they both make it stick? He's going to be asking for a tow from his teammate there as they head down towards Eau Rouge. The two Genesis cars trying to find a way past that, what is looking like an extremely fast McLaren. Not something I was expecting to see at all. He will of course have the penalty to serve, so he'll drop back eventually, but a lap in the dirty air, you want to try and avoid that wherever you can. heading back towards the front of the field. 11.4 seconds in 4 laps is absolutely amazing, even if he's on the medium tyres. That is stunning pace, and his tyre wear does not look too bad at all either, so he is going to be absolutely fantastic by the looks of things in this race. Taking a look at a couple of comments, it is definitely a race for P2 by the looks of things. Maxim is basically, he's here to cruise around, to maybe learn some things for the GT World Series, who knows, just to have a bit of fun. I think he was perhaps hoping that Cunning or Perez might have been here this evening to make things life a little bit more difficult for him, but who would ever say no to an effectively free 16 points. Kepler will serve his penalty at the end of this lap, but Hasdane is impatient. He is really keen to get past already. He's losing more time, nearly 16 seconds behind the lead now, and about 5 or 6 behind second place, which is really where his sights will be aimed, I'm sure. As I said, with no Cunning, this is a great opportunity for him to take a commanding championship lead if he can pick up a solid haul of points here. The little yellow bar appears above the Italian driver's head, indicating that he will soon be serving that penalty as he gets on the AstroTurf again, and he is wide, he is off the circuit, and he will be taking that penalty, but he just cannot get a handle on Stavolo, just running a little bit wide. The mid-engine cars do understeer on power, and he is just really struggling to get a handle on it, and he will drop almost all the way to the back. Here comes Izu9, he's going for an extremely optimistic, brave move. He's hit the Genesis driver, I think. I don't think that was intentional, but very, very erratic behaviour from him in the braking zone, and that will allow Juttengo in the other Genesis to come alongside. Will he have the braking performance to get in front on the outside of La Source? They go side by side. He's going to have an improved line on exit. Can he get it? He's going to want a tow off of the other Genesis of Solid Ninja Snake, but I think the straight line speed of the BMW is just a little bit too much for him at the moment. He's going to tuck in and wait for the run up towards the Kemmel Straight. He'll have a double tow as they head into Le Combe. Is there anything the Northern Irishman can do from there in P7? The Irishman, Izu9, in P6, just in front of him there. Gaps at front. Closest one here, Jamie chasing down Smalley Balls for P2. 15.1 seconds off of the lead, so an average of 3 seconds a lap. I mean, he is on the hard tyre, you never know if he could come back, but I don't know whether that's going to be a realistic option for him. He's going to need something seriously special, but if any driver is capable of producing it in this lobby, then it is certainly the GOAT, CRG Jamie. Ramirez at the back there just picking up a half-second penalty. Probably a cut at Raddy or something like that, as he is embroiled in a 4-car battle for, well, what is looking for P9 or potentially P8 if they can catch back up to Capero, who does look like he has the pace, but does he quite have the finesse? These camera angles are really dreadful. They keep lingering on corners for too long, and while I like the scenery, as Jamie hits the gravel, and he is relegated to P11, and he will be slow for the next couple of corners on those dirty, hard tyres. As I was saying, while I like the scenery at Spa-Francorchamps, I'd much rather watch the cars go round than have it linger on an empty piece of track for 3 seconds after they've gone by. Through Blanchimont they all come. They've all sort of straightened themselves out now since that little bit of an incident at the Fagnes chicane, as CRG Jamie now 1.1 seconds behind Smalley, so not making the inroads. A little bit of a slower lap that time, perhaps a mistake that we didn't quite catch, as they head now out towards Eau Rouge. At the front, Maxim from Smalley, it's CRG Jamie, Hasnain, Solid Ninja Snake, Izu9, Juttengo still pressuring him for that P6, Kepler after his penalty and mistake, Diogo Mora, Ramirez pressuring him, and Jamie 9 million in the final Nissan GTR. CRG Jamie, with that tow off of the other Toyota in front of him, has set the fastest first sector, and could this be where we see the hard tyre start to come back into its own against the medium? I don't think it's going to be anything significant that he can really a significant dent he can put into that lead, but maybe just good to know when racing the cars around him that the hard has some life going longer into the stint. Through they come down towards Pouon. A sharp left-hander, a dab of brakes, 5th gear, let the car coast through down into 4th and apply the power. Let the car naturally swing wide as then we head into the S's, the right left, the Fania chicane, whatever you want to call it. Through we go towards Stavolo. He's within a second now. This is looking like a very strong lap from Jamie as he saved enough tyre, as he's using up a bit more fuel. Just 4/10 off his own best. This is looking like a solid lap as we are seeing Supra on Supra action through Blanchimont. Heading towards the bus stop chicane. The gap's at half a second, probably a bit far to be thinking of anything into this particular corner, but if he can maintain this gap towards the first corner and indeed towards Eau Rouge in the next lap, then he might be able to make a move through this section. He's got a great run through the chicane. Gap's down to under 4/10 as he gains 2/10 on himself through the final sector. A 2:18.9, compare that with Smalley's 2:19.7, and you can see why he has closed that gap in so much. Towards Eau Rouge now, about half a second. He has got on the Welshman behind him as the Aperture Motorsport Toyota Supra, a livery that has become synonymous with Jamie almost. I, of course, donned it alongside him in Season 2 in the Audi TT and then later on the Porsche Cayman. Beautiful blue and orange flash through the Ardennes forest, but it's not quite close enough on this lap to make a move, and now the dirty air starts to come into effect through the chicane and down the hill through Rivage or Bruchelle. There are so many names for the corners of this circuit, I never know which one to use, so they all get interchanged depending on the mood I'm in that lap. Through the left-hander of the corner with no name, and you can just see in the background there the 2 Genesis cars trying to keep tabs on the podium battle in front of them. No need to push too hard on this hard tyre stint early, but this is lap 7, so those who are on their starting tyres will have completed their allocation for that tyre. So those who have started on the mediums won't need to use the mediums again. Those who have started on the hards won't need to use the hards again. It is a long pit lane at Spa. I'm imagining with the tyre wear that it will be a 2-stop, but you never know. If people really do struggle, it could be a 3. Just really depends how long they can get those tyres to last for. Under half a second once again the gap. Jamie looks incredibly strong through the second half of the lap, and can he make the most of it as they head down into the bus stop chicane? The option to pit is there and they don't take it. Through into La Source once again, half a second behind. Can he make a move? Can he get a run on him? He's got a nice line through La Source, and that has given him a great exit as he takes chunks of time out of him, heading through the exit of that corner and down the hill. Hasnain is closing in as well. The gap down from 1.7 seconds to just 1.1. He's coming good now towards the end of the stint as the car lightens up. The hard tyres may be wearing out, but as that car lightens, the hards don't feel a huge drop off, so he can certainly make amends. But look at the gap he loses down the straight. Goes from 1.1 seconds to over 1.5 seconds gap. 4/10. I mean, I know the car in front has got a slipstream, but that is a huge amount to try and make up throughout the rest of the lap, and that is quite a tall task for him. But now you can see as they come through the twisty section, the Genesis combined with the driving talent of Hasnain is starting to reel them back in again. It's an interesting game of cat and mouse around Spa. You never quite know where the drivers and the cars are going to come on strongest. Kepero now putting Junko under some pressure as we head into Pouan on lap number 8. Looking like drivers will be doing 7 laps on softs towards the end of the race. Seeing there in the comments from GT legend Brownski and Project Cars legend Brownski, of course. 7 laps on soft, so we could be looking at a hard, medium, soft, medium, hard, soft, medium, soft, hard. One of the combinations of using all 3 compounds of tyre, which has become prevalent in the recent seasons of GT. If anyone who was familiar with the strategy options on GT Sport, you would never have dreamed of seeing a triple compound strategy, but with the updated tyre model from back before the new year, that is certainly what we've got, as Kepero is looking for an ambitious move down the inside of Blanchimont. There's contact. That is pretty harsh. Junko just about leaves the door open. Will lose some momentum as they head down, and that is Junko dropping places. He saved a lot of fuel, mind you, but he will come in as well off of his hard tyre. Hasnain is in too, so we'll see what he opts for at the stops. Smalley remains in front of Jamie, who's just dropped off the back, maybe using his tyres up in the dirty air a bit too much. We're not sure. Everyone else opting to remain out, whether they're on hard or medium. They feel like they've got some as best they can. Hasnain in the pits for 16, well, over the line for 16 seconds so far, but he's been in the pits for a lot longer than that. This is must be a full tank stop. Yes, out he goes then onto the mediums and nearly a full tank of fuel. So this is going to be a huge lap from Hasnain. He had those the 2 Toyotas just in front of him. Can this work as an undercut? Junko out as well on the medium tyre with nearly a full tank of fuel as well. So it is a big pit lane loss here with a full tank of fuel and a set of tyres. And it will look like the 2-stop is the optimal strategy, as I said, with some variation on the triple compound option. The prevalent strategy in the GT leagues in the modern age. 1.6 seconds now the gap. He really is dropping off the back, is Jamie. Just managing things, perhaps thinking of coming in potentially at the end of this lap to do another 9 laps, maybe 10 laps on the mediums, and then switch on to the soft at the end. Some variation on that type of strategy. As Eisenstein 1.3 seconds behind, Maxim is finally in. He has used all of his fuel. He's managed to stretch 9 laps out of that tank, and he will come off of his mediums, and we'll put a fresh set of rubber onto that pink pig Porsche, all the P's. This is an affiliated channel, so I shan't adorn the Asahi Kasai Genesis cars with their P-based nickname they have earned over the years for their fantastic team play. Those in the comments will know what I'm referring to, but it's the pink pig Porsche and the purple something. Maxim then still in the pits, going for a lengthy stop, as is Ramirez. Out comes Maxim onto the hard tyre, and he is looking to, he's put in just under a full tank, so he now on the hard tyre with a heavy tank of fuel. And we head down the hill towards Eau Rouge with one of the finest drivers in the GT scene at the moment. He is a huge credit to have to be part of the league, even if he does absolutely curb stomp the competition when there's no one on his level available to race against him. But absolutely fantastic driving from him, and I'm sure we will be seeing him featuring in many a live final to come in the future. Of the cars still out is the 2 Toyotas, as Jamie continues to lose more time. I think he's suffering with fuel and tyre wear to a greater effect than Smalley is. Smalley's done very well with maintaining those tyres, and it's certainly making it work for him towards the end of the lap. Towards the end of the stint, sorry. So Ledinchnik cutting the gap down to nearly 2 seconds now. He was about 3.5 back a couple of laps ago, so he's making the pace count at the end of the stint as well. And I think he's got just under 10%. That fuel light is flashing, so he'll probably be in this lap. But those couple of percent left in the tank can make all the difference when it comes to the pit stops, if he's only a few tenths behind. Here is Maxim on the charge, on his hard tyres, chasing down the BMW of ISO9, yet to stop. And Hasnain a further 22 seconds back. He is on the medium tyre, and he's been on that for a couple of laps already. So, well, yeah, a couple of laps, including the outlap already. So he is going to be one to watch as Jamie, Smalley, Ninja Snake all come into the pits. Whereabouts will Hasnain come out in relation to them? Hasnain is a second up on his own personal best, but he's not really touching the initial fastest lap set by Maxim. Ninja Snake comes in with 5%, as does Izu9, and now we wait and see. Maxim, of course, miles out in the lead. Change of tyres, of course, for Smalley, as for Jamie. I mean, it takes him absolutely forever to even get to the line to change the tyres in the first place. It's absolutely incredible how lengthy the pit lane is here. They drop it off the jacks. There is Hasnain, so he is through La Source and away. Just clear, as out comes Smalley on the medium, and Jamie is as well. Jamie putting in 11% less fuel. So that is interesting, as Ninja Snake comes out with Jungo in front of him. So Jungo's actually jumped in with that pit stop. I know he obviously had a couple of laps on them, putting maybe a little bit less fuel, and the medium tyre has allowed him to get in front of Ninja Snake, but that out of sync tyre wear is certain to come back and bite him later on. Here we go then. It is going to be Smalley versus Jamie, round 2. Jamie are both on the same tyre, but this time Jamie has got a slightly lighter car, 11 litres, about 11 kilos lighter, and that can make a big difference in a wheel-to-wheel battle, especially on these fresher tyres at the start of the stint. Heading now into Rivage. His cameras are incredibly zoomed in. So hard to see what's going on as the cars go past. We'll go on board with the Welshman as we head towards Pouhon. Once again, you can see where he loses the time in the dirty air behind the other Supra, and through there, the big understeer moment. He's going to be burning through his front tyres like that, and a few tenths lost through Pouhon, and that is just the difficulty. You can make the most of the slipstream in a straight line, but through the middle sector, you really do not want to be following another car, as Jungo keeping tabs on two in front of him. Of course, all these cars are on roughly the same strategy. They're on the same strategy idea. It's about the lap on which they all execute the designs they have, but interesting that he's managing to hold on and keep them honest. As Solid Ninja Snake about 2.7 seconds behind. He's not quite had the pace so far in the opening 11 laps of this race. Will he be able to mount a comeback of sorts towards the end? As there is Caparo as well. A few mistakes early on, but seems to have cleaned up his act a little bit, and will now be hoping to pick up a couple of places and move towards that top 5 and solidify his solid result from the first round. Moving further back towards the front, Jamie can't really make any inroads on Smalley. Smalley's having a fantastic race. Not something that we particularly expected to see from him. If we're being perfectly honest, we know he's got some class, but no points last time out. P12 for him at round 1. I think he may have had a few problems, perhaps some contact, something like that, but a huge turnaround for him, and currently running in a fantastic P3 position. Jamie sets the fastest first sector by 4 tenths, but I'm sure Smalley would have set a faster one even without the tow. The onus really is on him to be making the overtake rather than Smalley having to defend. Really, you would expect a driver of Jamie's prowess to be catching and passing with ease. Dirty air really bad around here. Yes, it is. It's surprisingly bad. It seems like some circuits compared to the previous game, compared to sport, were not too bad in comparison, or just in general, you know, sort of you didn't suffer from it as much. But around here, you really do. It is quite I think especially as well in the Super, it's quite obviously it's front engine, it's heavy at the front, and you're just going to feel that nose sort of washing out that you maybe wouldn't feel as much with a different car. But yeah, dirty air is a big factor around here. It can be difficult to catch and pass, and while the long straights do come in handy, if you can't stay within about 7/10 by the time you get onto the straight, then you're really going to struggle. So the delta, the pace offset needed is going to be pretty high, and I think some drivers are going to cotton onto that fairly soon, and perhaps for their next stop, potentially could be their final stop, will make some changes to their approach, try and gain track position to allow themselves to make the jump without actually having to pass them on track. Jamie sets a 2:16.7, that is his best lap of the race, but Smalley sets a 2:16.4. Neither of them yet to pass Maxim's fastest lap of a 2:16.3 on a fully loaded car with mediums, which is just an outstanding pace, especially on the cold, the hazy sort of cold track early on that we had. That is stunning from the esports driver. As we look further down the field, the gaps are fairly even. We've got Ramirez chasing Jamie in the other GTR, and Eisenstein just behind in his BMW. BMW not slapped on a straight line, but look at the gap even in the toe as Jamie picks up a penalty. Actually, he must have cut Radion as Aizu backs out of the move. He just lifts and coasts through there. It's an interesting decision. I think maybe he thought Ramirez was going to defend or perhaps attack Jamie in front, but no, nothing like that. They just opt to stay line astern as they head through the middle sector of the lap. It could be as much as a second. Yes, I think that's what we're looking at. Perhaps between about 7/10 to a second, I think, is the delta you're probably going to require to have a really good chance of passing someone. And that obviously comes at a combination of car pace, driver speed, and the tyre life you've got on board. We reach half distance, then it is lap 13 of 26, and frankly, this has flown by. It has been pretty solid action and some strategic intrigue once again. Taking a look through the middle of the field, then everyone fairly spread out as well. Save for the battles at the back. Jamie 1.6 seconds behind. Smalley in the sister Toyota, shall we say. As they now within 19 seconds of the race leader, who is just less than half a tank remaining, and 18.0, that is pretty solid pace. 18.6, 18.0, 18.0, fantastic pace in the Porsche. 17.1 followed by 17.4 for the Season 1 champion, as the two Toyotas come through about 5 seconds or so behind the Genesis driver. If you are just joining us, this is PSGL GT. This is the third official season, the Constructors Challenge. It is a format that myself and my fellow coordinators have held for some time on a separate league racing website. We brought this over to PSGL for the launch of GT7 just under a year ago now. Anyone unfamiliar, this is the GT3 round. This is an 8-round series where 4 rounds are contested in the GT3 cars and 4 rounds are contested in GT4 cars. The drivers select a manufacturer and they use each car, as I said, 4 times each throughout the course of the season. It is loosely based on the incredibly popular GT World Series, previously FIA Constructors, FIA Manufacturers Series Challenge Cup thing. Well, I can't remember what it was called actually, to be honest. Loosely based on that, but with much more sensible rules, much less meta abuse, and hopefully a more enjoyable and competitive affair for everyone. Championship leader ERL Culling did not manage to make it to this round, so he will be almost certainly losing the lead to Hasnain, who took up second place and the fastest lap at the first round at Circuit de Saint Croix, also in the GT3 cars. Can Hasnain, the Season 1 champion in the GT3, take on a second title to his name? A championship leader this early season doesn't mean everything, but no one would ever complain about being in the championship lead at any point during a season. CRG Jamie, we focus on him a lot this evening. Looked to have decent pace early on, and certainly in the middle of the stint, the first stint, but not quite been able to maximise it to get past the frankly rank outsider of Smalley Balls, 1310. An excellent performance from him so far, and totally unexpected, it has to be said. He's half a second purple through the first sector, my word. What a drive. I mean, I know that the Super is quick in a straight line over the Porsche, but that is fantastic running through there. And after his P12 no points performance at round 1, this is a big way to bounce back in round 2. Looking through a couple of comments, as we're not seeing a whole load of close racing right now, although at the back, of course, this 3-car battle for P9 continues to rage on. So we'll run on board with that for a while, just as we read through a couple of comments. This Maxim, yeah, he started on the mediums and absolutely dominated straight away at 4 seconds by the end of the first lap. Incredible pace, obviously, with that. Oh, it's Eisenstein lagged towards the wall. I thought he'd gone off there, but he has made a mistake, I think, and Jamie's looking to pounce on him for P9 for a precious 2 points. There is no drop round, no, all 8 rounds count, so anyone who is missing a round will be at an advantage, unfortunately. While the drop round is a nice idea in theory, it made it a little bit too easy for what has often been slightly flaky attendance for that to become sort of forgiven by the drop round. We want to encourage everyone to turn up to as many races as we can, and we hope that we are doing so. Unfortunately, a few technical issues, I think, blighting a few drivers this evening, meaning that they couldn't join us, but still, strong 11-car grid. And Jamie 9 million on his soft tyre. He's getting pretty close to the end of the life on those. Through there, well, of course, Bransky, there are no reverse grids, so these are just the one race, no sprints, no reverse grids, nothing like that. So championship position bears no relevance to anyone's starting position, thankfully. No one-shot qualifying, no reverse grids, no double points, anything like that. Just straight, clean, 1 hour racing, as here comes Jamie pushing the BMW towards Eau Rouge. You don't want to be giving someone a bump draft through Eau Rouge. Absolute catastrophes will happen almost certainly, but this is a great opportunity for Jamie to get in front. But the straight line speed on that BMW is nothing to be sniffed at as he pulls alongside the Bumblebee BMW M6, and he is up the inside and through on what will likely be his last lap on the tyres, as they are getting very, very close to that cliff. He is going to be driving around on threads by the end of this lap, I think. Probably by the end of the next 2 corners he's going to be on the absolute limit, and the 2 drivers behind him will be looking to bounce and reclaim that 2 points paying position. Let's look further ahead as Ninja Stick has closed in on the Genesis Jutgo, the Bentley branded Genesis, the Gently. I see what you've done there. As Ninja Snake just taking it cautiously, Stavelo, no point going for the extremely optimistic move into that corner as they head towards Blanchimont. It's going to be in the tow for the purple driver, as Jut & Go doesn't feel like he's in Ninja Snake's race. Lifts off a little bit, lets him go. He's going to focus on his own thing, not waste what is a limited supply of rubber on that tyre. Not going to waste it on battling against Ninja Snake. 10 seconds now, the gap between Ninja Snake and Jamie. Jamie's clawing slowly back towards Smalley, about 2.1 seconds the gap now. Can he make any further inroads? I say that, and he drops 3/10 in one corner, so it looks like no, the inroads will not be made as he might hope. But as I say that, it's like it's I'm so professional. I've got a commentator's curse. 2-second penalty for Smalley. I don't know what he did to get that, whether he cut the final chicane or perhaps cut across the first corner, but that is a huge opportunity for Jamie to reel him back in and take the place for P3, as Smalley now closing in on Hasnain, who is on very low fuel and very low tyres with that couple of laps earlier stop. Now Hasnain will surely see that little red box floating above his name when he looks behind, and will not feel too threatened by the onrushing Supra. I'm sure he'll be coming into the pits now anyway for a 9-lap stint at the end. I imagine another set of medium tyres to get him to the end, or whether he takes the gamble and goes for a lengthy stint on the softs, but I wouldn't have thought so from this position. Instead opted for the undercut and the mediums, and it has worked to a degree. He has got into P2 and hasn't really looked back as the others have floundered behind him. Here we go then, we're going to watch as Smalley comes up to the penalty line. Orange, the yellow bar above his head almost full as he crosses the penalty line, and he is forced to brake, and here comes CRG Jamie. Huge pace differential as they come through into Blanchimont, and he is ahead and into P3. So another podium position as it stands for Jamie. Can he maintain it? He didn't look to have the pace when he was behind, but with a 2-second gap, can he hold on to it? I think that there, you see the change in gaps, it's just a clear indication of how terribly flawed the system on GT is. Hasnain's in, but the slowdown penalties, you put it on one of the longest straights on the circuit, you make them brake. It's a 2-second penalty, but that's 2 seconds of braking, of no throttle, hard on the brakes, and you have to get back up to speed again. That 2-second penalty has cost him 5 seconds. It's just baffling the way that they've implemented that, but it is the way it is. The drivers know it. It's the same for everyone, but for me it's just not the way you want to see things done. As out comes Maxim then onto his set of medium tyres. He'll be taking those to the end, I'm sure, and he is going to unleash his pure pace once again and take what I'm sure will be a cruising victory, barring any sort of internet mechanical failure. Hasnain out on the mediums as well, so he will once again have the jump, but he will have worse tyre wear as they head towards the end of the stint, and potentially an inferior compound if the rest of the drivers can make it to the end of lap 19 and switch onto a set of soft tyres. He is going to be he's going to be the one looking in his rearview mirror defending, as opposed to the aggression that an undercut usually brings. Oh, Smalley gets all out of shape through Poole. What a perfect time to cut just to catch that, and he is now 4.5 seconds behind Jamie. I think Jamie's he's had a very good in lap anyway. I mean, he'll certainly be coming in at the end of this lap, but even with that mistake from Smalley, he was pulling away, and I think that has definitely left him with plenty of breathing room as they head into the final 8 laps of this race, with the tyre change. Prediction of Smalley, Jamie and SNS to go for softs. I think it's probably a solid shout that will be the case. As we take a look, Jamie stopped on lap 10, so he would have done 8 laps on this. I mean, if you see how much he's burned through his tyres on with 8 laps on mediums, I think it could be another 8 laps on mediums for him, to be fair. Can't see a set of softs making it that long. Same for Smalley, he was in on lap 10, has done 8 laps and pretty much burned through those mediums, so another 8-lap stint for him. Ninja Snake, that's someone who could be going on to softs. He's going for an extra lap with that great tyre saving he has displayed there. He will lead the race for a lap, perhaps. He's got Maxim at about 7 seconds behind. Yeah, that's about right. It's looking like Jamie battling Hasnain for second. Here comes Hasnain into the bus stop. And out he goes along the front straight, currently in P6, but that will change once he jumps a couple of cars in the pits into P4 with Eisenine and Ninja Snake yet to stop again in front of him. There is Jamie appearing alongside him, and that is interesting. Jamie has gone for the mediums, so he's got slightly fresher mediums and a very fast car in a straight line, and this could be very interesting as the battle for second place in this race, with Ninja Snake perhaps an outsider, but on those soft tyres he could do anything. I think my main problem with the penalty, just heading to the comments, I think my problem with the penalty system is the inconsistency of it. They've placed it at some circuits in a place where it doesn't really hinder you at all, or in a place that's sort of out of the way. And then at places like this, they put it right at the start of a straight. So, you know, at certain circuits, the deterrent isn't the same, and I'd much rather have the penalty in terms of the placement be on the more lenient side. In terms of it doesn't damage you as much, perhaps having it on exits of corners rather than the entries to corners rather than the exits. But instead just make the penalties bigger, so that they're more in line with the seconds you actually lose. So a 3-second penalty is actually a 3-second penalty, but it's more liberally applied. I think it's the inconsistency that gets me more than anything. We head now, Hasnain 1.4 seconds ahead of Jamie. Can the Toyota Supra Aperture Motorsport driver get through, get close, get within that 1.2 second slipstream range and start to mount a challenge? As I said, that dirty air in the middle sector is brutal, and in a car like the Supra, which doesn't really turn anyway, it could be very interesting. Smalley there in P6 on the medium tyre. He's 4 seconds behind Jamie. He did look to have slightly better raw pace, but he's got to gain 4 seconds in about 7 laps, which is a pretty tall order, because of course that will involve the tyre wear and making that move stick with the strong dirty air. Ninja Snake is staying out for another lap. He is certainly going soft at the end, and he is going to be absolutely flying with a light car and soft tyres. He is going to be the fastest man on the track by a country mile. Maxim can't even get close to his own fastest lap. I was talking about other drivers not getting close, but he is still 216.4, his best of 216.3, but a very fast first sector, and he is looking to attempt to pick up that extra point provisionally. But of course, if Ninja Snake does opt for those soft tyres at the end, he is going to be surely absolutely flying and aiming lap. Here is Jamie now, 8 tenths behind Hasnain, so he is starting to generate a run here on the purple driver. Through the middle sector, and here you go, you see it, the gap goes from 8 tenths to nearly 1.1 seconds through the corner with no name. And there you are, 1.1 seconds. It's a difficult car to get through the twisty bits, and combined with the dirty air off the enormous wing on the back of that Genesis, he is not having a good time of it through the middle sector. Just has to stay disciplined though, stay within the slipstream range, and he hopes that the chance will come to him as Hasnain's tyres perhaps start to let go a little earlier than his will. Kebro has recovered to P6, but he has got Junko all over the back of him. And this could be an interesting battle for 6th place. Through the Fania chicane, and looking at the minimap, it does look like Ninja Snake is in. Yes, 2 litres of fuel remaining. The medium tyres completely spent. It's going to be soft and a 6-lap blast to try and pick up that fastest lap and potentially pick up an extra position. You never know, if there is a battle happening, he may just be able to sneak through and pick up the pieces to claim another podium. I think Jamie's going to need to be closer than this. Maxim's done a 2:16 flat. Smalley ball sets a 15.8, so he's just gone 6/10 faster than Jamie on that lap, and he is reeling him in, and that is the type of pace he needs to be matching to make this work. There's 5 laps to go at the end of this one, and at that sort of pace he would potentially just about catch him in time, at least give himself a chance heading on to the final lap. But it's whether he can maintain that pace for the duration of the stint. Out comes Ninja Snake, as we expected, on the soft tyres, 62 litres of fuel. He is going to be on a mission now. But of course, look at that straight line speed. The Genesis just doesn't pull. He's in 6th gear and there's no revs on the screen. I mean, that's an incredibly slow pull off the top of Radion. Leaving it banging off the rev limiter in 5th might be a better idea to try and keep some of that torque band. They're clearly very high at the top of the rev range. As Ninja Snake, even on the soft tyre, doesn't look to be making many inroads on Smalley. And this is incredible pace from him. Like I said, I keep repeating it, but he was 12th in round 1. P12, no points. I mean, he had an incident, but I mean, this is outstanding from him, and I think whether he gets 3rd or 4th or 5th, he's going to be fully deserving of a solid haul of points to move him up the table. Here we go, this is our main battle then. We're 22 seconds behind the lead. There is no chance, unless Maxim sticks it in the wall or disconnects, that he will not be winning this race. It's going to be CRG Jamie chasing down Hasnain, gets on the AstroTurf coming out of Stavelot. And just look at the way that Supra just does not turn when it's behind the Genesis. He cannot get any sort of purchase from those front tyres, and that's just not allowing him to utilise all the straight line speed he's got. Through Blanchimont for the 21st time, and into the bus stop chicane. Big attack on those curbs into the chicane. Hasnain seemed bounced a little bit wide by them. Yes, he was, and he's lost a lot of time, about 3/10 through that chicane. And is this going to be Jamie's best chance at making an overtake? Stick through La Source. Hasnain is wide again. Is the extra lap or 2 on those tyres going to start to bite him? It's 5/10 the gap. Doesn't quite get the exit he wants, does Jamie, but heading now down the hill towards Eau Rouge through that harsh dip. You feel the car hit the curb, up through the right-hander, don't get stuck to that curb, over Radion. Everything goes light, and now look at the drive he gets. The Genesis just does not pull off the top. Pulls in alongside. There's absolutely nothing that the Season 1 champion can do about that one, and now it is going to be Jamie on the defensive as we head through the Lacombe chicane. On lap 22, just 4 to go at the end of this one. Has they got a response for Jamie in the battle for 2nd place? Through the right-hander and now into the left of the corner with No Name. Hasnain keeping him honest. I think that Genesis does have the upper hand through the middle sector as he catches the curb. An incredible save. Only loses a couple of tenths, but that was nearly absolute disaster. That was a pure Co-Brown situation as he just loses the rear and just dips a wheel off the edge of the curb, manages to recover it, and still only loses a couple of attempts and leaves himself still within a shout of trying to retake that 2nd place. And all while this is happening, he's got to be looking in the rearview mirror. Smalley now 2.5 seconds behind. 2.5 seconds and still on fantastic pace of 16.2 last time out, compared to Hasnain's 17 flat and CRG Jamie's 16.4. So it really don't know the way that this battle for 2nd place is going to go. I think it's advantage Jamie at the moment, but if Hasnain keeps him honest through that middle sector and just gets the right run, I think it could be still a possibility that he retakes the position. The problem of the car not pulling in 6th gear off the top of Radion, it could be eliminated if he can stay in the tow. Just that less resistance means he just get further. He's not going to push as hard, and the car will pull and get to a higher speed. But it looks like Jamie is just about breaking away. I think if he gets La Source right and can be sort of 1.2 seconds clear by the end of the straight, he may well have this one wrapped up, barring any mistakes. As Smalley is creeping ever closer. 2 seconds now, the gap with 3 to go at the end of this one. Through Eau Rouge, up the hill, past the chalet that of course no longer exists. A huge new modern grandstand there. Hope to see the updated version of Spa in the game soon. Along goes CRG Jamie. He's got Hasnain about a second behind him. This is a critical middle sector now. 1.1 seconds into the braking zone. Can Hasnain, with him a bit further back, a little bit less dirty air, can he reel him in? You've got to get the timing right. You want to catch him at the perfect moment to avoid the dirty air, but get the toe off of the car in front. And now with a gap 1.8 seconds to Smalley in P4 behind. The sun's starting to come out for the final laps here. Looking radiant is the purple Genesis. Oh, Smalley goes wide, and that could earn him a penalty if he left it pinned. It really depends whether he managed to straddle that yellow curb at the end or not, or if he was completely outside it. I think he's managed to get away with it for now, but he's lost about half a second. He's picked up some dirt on those tyres, and the last couple of laps worth of hard work have all gone to waste. He's going to need to do it all over again. And I think that might be a little bit too much to ask of him. There we go then. Hasnain half a second behind CRG Jamie. That is the sort of gap he was needing. Jamie wide onto the AstroTurf through this right-hander. The medium tyres on both cars not looking in great shape at all at the moment. Hasnain's smooth driving style maybe just holding his alive. They're not deteriorating quite as fast as they possibly should do. Jamie in what is a pretty heavy on its tyres Supra is just not quite able to manage them as well. Gap about half a second. Can the Genesis get the exit? He goes for the early upshift while on the power, possibly doesn't get the best exit, but is still reeling him in. The acceleration of the Genesis is perfectly good. It's the top end speed that it's lacking. It's just got no power in 6th gear. Here we go then. 6/10 the gap. Can Hasnain make any sort of move on Jamie at the end of this straight? He's going to need a fantastic run. Goes for the 6th gear change before Eau Rouge, and I think that's going to cost him some time. It is. He's going to lose time off the top of Eau Rouge. Without attempting to drive a coach, I'm sure that 5th gear would be a better option through Eau Rouge, because it's bogging down so much through there. Maybe he's trying to save some fuel. I'm not entirely sure, but I think that just not getting the launch off the top of Radion is costing him the chance to really make an attack on Jamie each lap here. I think it's cost him the position in the first place. And he's not able to really mount any sort of challenge. Sloyballs is recovering some of the time he lost. 2.5 seconds as Ninja Snake finally gets around to setting the fastest lap, a 15.4. Finally brought those tyres up to temperature. Like I said, tyre temperature in the previous round, tyre temperature is a factor. Is a factor in this game, much more than it has been in previous titles, and so it does take you a lap or so to warm the tyres up. We've seen that pretty much every car in every stint. The first lap not so fast, but the second one is when the tyres come into their own, really get them up to temperature and can utilise all of the performance. Half a second, under half a second now the gap. This is a critical moment. Lap 24 of 26. There's just 2 to go at the end of this one. It's been a masterclass from Max and Glushko out front, but this is the battle everyone has their eyes on. It's Hasnain versus Jamie, two long-standing members of the GT League racing community, as that is a great exit for Hasnain off of Stavolo. Can he pull out of the toe? The second he does, the Supra just starts to pull away again. I mean, that is incredible speed from the Supra at the top of the gearbox there, and just like that, it's a couple of tenths, he's a little bit wide, and the chance has gone. Has to stay tucked right up beneath his rear wing. Got to get a perfect exit through here. He's a little bit wide. The gap opens back up to just over 7/10 as we head on to the penultimate lap. Smalley Ball's now just 2 seconds behind Hasnain as well. If these two start going wheel to wheel on the final lap, do not count him out of podium position just yet, despite that mistake. Without that mistake, he probably could have been in front of them by now, or at least right on the back of them. That mistake probably cost him about 2.5 seconds. So that is huge, as Hasnain remains with the 6th gear, and look at that, he's going to lose about a tenth off the top of Radion headed down the Kemmel Straight. The toe not quite helping him reel him in yet, as there is Smalley Balls watching making sure he doesn't make any more mistakes, making sure he just stays smooth and consistent, and keeps himself in a position to pick up any pieces that may be left scattered about the Ardennes forest if the two in front of him do come to blows. Solid Ninja Snake on the soft tyre. He is not looking likely to challenge anyone in front of him, but he will pick up that extra point for the fastest lap, which could be crucial in whatever championship battle he ends up in, whether it's for first, second, third, fourth, whatever. Every point matters. Capero in P6 and Junko there in P7, just chasing him down now, only half a second between these two. So it's all sort of come together at the end, that the battles between the drivers sort of in every corner of the field really starting to get close now, as Hasnain, about 9/10 behind Jamie, have his tyres had enough? Are they just reaching that point where even with the tyre model changes, you do reach the sort of bottom quarter of that tyre bar, they really start to feel a drop off, and once you get sort of right towards the bottom, they're pretty much undrivable. So he's got to use what he's got left, but is what he's got left quite enough? It's the rear tyres where Jamie is much superior. If you take a look at the bottom left of your screen there, the rear tyres, the difference in the gauges, Jamie's rear tyres in much better nick, and I think maybe that is the difference that is going to keep Hasnain at bay as we head on to the final lap. Maxim Glushko is already at Eau Rouge. He'd won this race about 58.5 minutes ago. So it's now between these two and Smalley, 1.4 seconds behind. I think we're going to ride on board with him to see what he can do, but he is down to the last dregs of his fuel, under 10%. I'm sure he'll make it to the end just fine. But can he mount any sort of challenge from 1.7 seconds back? He's going to need a serious miracle, some kind of enormous battle to start happening with the cars in front of him. As Jamie moves towards the middle of the track, but no attack from Hasnain, and I think that these two are potentially going to remain as they are. I can't see Hasnain being in a position with that amount of tyre wear to mount any sort of challenge to second place. Through the right-hander of Ravage or Bushell, and the corner with no name, the left-hander across, just nabbed that curb, and the one on the outside. Oh, big slide on those cooked rear tyres, but despite that he's down to a 4/10 gap. He surely couldn't, not from all the way back here. Jamie is wide as Hasnain gets it just right, and now he's really closing in on the exit of Pouhon. Smalley's dropped off the back of him. He's not challenging for this position. Through the chicane and now into the left-hander part. He's a little bit wide through there. Will that cost him? He's just managing to stay close. It's 3/10 the gap into Stavolo for the final time. Jamie a little bit wide. Hasnain gets caught on the AstroTurf just a little bit, and now they head towards Blanchimont and the bus stop chicane. It is a final lap showdown between two of the longest standing drivers in GT. Maxim Glushko's crossed the line to take the win. Apologies to him for not showing him across the line, but here we go then into the bus stop chicane. Jamie's a little bit out of shape, looks to go defensive. Will Hasnain have a go? Not quite, as Jamie goes a little bit deep. Can Hasnain get the cutback? He comes up to the inside, got to put his foot down for those worn rear tyres. They're just not going to let him get the purchase he needs, and across the line the gap is just over a tenth. A fantastic race for second place between those two. It is Smalley Balls and Solid Ninja Snake in P4 and 5. A fantastic ending to the battle for second place there, as here we go then. It's Ramirez against Eisenstein for P9 and P10. An extra point at stake between these two drivers. It's 2 points versus 1 point. Eisenstein on the inside, he gets a little bit deep. Ramirez goes off the track, potentially a corner cutting penalty there, but maybe not. He goes round the outside. Yes, he has picked up that penalty. He's gone too deep, and that will be Eisenstein's P10 for him. A final point. Eisenstein's P9, Ramirez's P10. He will pick up a point nonetheless, and it will be Jamie 9 million who will come home in P11. No points for him, unfortunately, but a solid effort nonetheless. So it is Maxim Glushko who takes victory in round 2 of PSGL GT Constructors Challenge. Congratulations to him. a fantastic performance, absolutely unchallenged today. It's CRG Jamie who takes home second place, 13 points for that, 12 points for that, excuse me, and he will not be too upset with that at all. Hasnain comes home in P3, another podium to add to his sizable collection of rostrum finishes. Smalley, a great performance from him, P4, maybe that mistake just costing him the chance to fight for the podium, but a fantastic bounce back after his horrendous display at round 1. Solid Ninja Snake, just not quite with the raw pace today. He takes home P5 and fastest lap, an extra point for that one. He probably can't be too disappointed with that one. An interesting strategy, went for the soft at the end, the triple compound strategy, and almost made it pay off. Made it pay off for him, didn't lose a position and gained that extra point. Kepler recovering from those early penalties and mistakes to take home P6. Jut and Go is P7. Diogo Mora, Izu9 and Ramirez complete your top 10. And there we go, well-known Red Bull Infinity Porsche driver Maxim Glushko takes P1 at round 2 of the PSGL Constructors Challenge Tier 1 Championship. Well, there you are then. I hope everyone enjoyed that one. We won't be doing any sort of post-race interviews, anything like that. We'll just leave it there. That, for me, was a pretty enjoyable race to watch. Really enjoyed that one. Some close cat and mouse type stuff, some close battling and a dominant performance out front. Thank you very much everyone who has joined us for the stream this evening. I have been Harry H Racing Green. I am usually the colour commentator, the second analysis as a former driver myself, offering a little bit of insight into the minds of a GT driver in the PSGL League. I hope to be back in that second seat. I'm sure you'll agree, anyone who's been watching, that main comms is not my forte, but I hope you have enjoyed nonetheless. We are a week off next week. We do these rounds in blocks of 2, so it will be a week off next week on the 31st, followed by round 3. The week after that we'll be back with a GT4 race, and that one will be coming to you live from the iconic Autodromo de Interlagos in Brazil. A sunny afternoon is scheduled for that one, and I hope we will see everyone there to join us. Once again, this is GT7. I hope you have enjoyed, and this is me saying good night. Thank you very much, and congratulations to our podium drivers.